The footballing world, including Sir Alex Ferguson, Steven Gerrard and Paul Gascoigne, have been paying tributes to former Rangers and Scotland manager Walter Smith, who has died at the age of 73. Smith, who also managed Everton, had 2 spells in charge at Ibrox, winning 10 top division titles before later serving as the club's chairman. Well, Rangers chairman Douglas Park gave this tribute to Smith. He said, on behalf of the Rangers Board of Directors, staff and players, I convey my deep condolences to the Smith family. It is almost impossible to encapsulate what Walter meant to every one of us at Rangers. He embodied everything that a Ranger should be. His character and leadership was second to none and will live long in the memory of everyone he worked with during his 2 terms as first-team manager. I spoke with Walter as recently as last weekend. Even when he was battling illness, he was still able to provide advice and support. For that, I am personally grateful. Walter will be sorely missed by all of us at Rangers. Winning top 10 flight titles as manager, 5 Scottish Cups and 6 League Cups, as well as leading his club to the UEFA Cup final in 2008, he will be remembered by the football community across the world. However, for Rangers supporters, he was much more than just a football manager. Walter was a friend to many, a leader, an ambassador, and most of all, a legend. Current Rangers manager Steven Gerrard has also paid his respects.
Still obviously very raw, but it is a very sad day for everyone connected to the club. Walter was an incredible leader, a very successful manager here at Rangers. I think he epitomised everything that this club stands for. His DNA is all over the club, and it's obviously very sad news.
You talk about his legacy there, and I guess, you know, when you guys walk into this place every day, you see the trophies on the wall, and, you know, quite simply probably the most successful manager in the modern era for Rangers.
Yeah, he was, and he's been right behind me since day one. Had many lunches and dinners and coffees and chats and private time with him in my office. So he's obviously going to be a very big loss and a miss to a lot of people. As you say, he's decorated all over the club, and he will be forever, because he gave many, many years to this football club. He loved the club, he was honest, he was genuine, and he's made me a better person, so I've got nothing but good words to say.
You've touched there on his legacy and also the relationship that you've had with him. How much has it meant to you to know him and to work alongside in these last couple of years?
Yeah, I've been the lucky one to know him and to spend time with him. So have an awful lot of other people who will have their own special memories of a great man. It's going to be emotional in the coming days and weeks, but the best tribute I and we as a team can do is be united, get the fans behind us and try and win the game tomorrow, and that'll be the best tribute we can give him and his family.
Former Manchester United manager Sir Alex Ferguson has expressed his sadness at the death of his former assistant. He said, "I am absolutely devastated. Walter was a special person. He fought his illness with great courage. He was a great friend of mine for years and years. I had him as my assistant at United in 2004, and he was also my assistant when Scotland went to the World Cup in 1986. In all that time, you were dealing with a man with great moral compass in how he lived his life and the friendship he offered so many people. His contribution to football with Dundee United, Rangers, Scotland, Everton and Man United was immense. He was only at United a short time, but he was fantastic. I lost Carlos Queiroz to Real Madrid, and I knew I needed an assistant, so I phoned Walter about it, and he came for 6 months and helped us with the FA Cup against Millwall. He had a wonderful connection with people because he was a great listener. That was one of his greatest qualities. He listened and showed an interest in people and helped everyone he could. It's such a loss to the game and to everyone that knew him. I send my sincere condolences to his wife Ethel and his 2 sons, Neil and Stephen. I'll miss him greatly." Well, the tributes have been pouring in at Ibrox, and Mark Benstead is there for us. Good afternoon to you once again, Mark. Now, Walter Smith earned legendary status for his 2 spells at Rangers. Has there been a real outpouring of emotion for him there?
Oh, there certainly has. Ever since the sad news broke this morning, we've seen a steady stream of supporters arriving here at Ibrox to pay their tributes. The iconic gates at either end of the main stand here now covered in tributes of different kinds. There are shirts, there are scarves, there are cards, there are flowers, there are other people just milling about, not sure what to do quite on this day, but just wanting to be here, just to mark the occasion, to be here in body, just to pay tribute in some small way to what Walter Smith meant to them. It really is a sad day for anyone connected with the club. It's been felt, of course, by those who are involved just now. The playing staff and the coaching staff all gathered at the club's training base north of Glasgow today to pause for a minute's silence to mark this sad occasion as well. And why? Why is he so revered? Well, I guess it's two things really. It's first and foremost the success he brought to this football club. 21 major trophies across his two spells, also great adventures in Europe. They almost got to a Champions League final. They did get to a UEFA Cup final. Beyond that as well, it was just how he represented the club. He was a Rangers supporter who represented the club the way the fans would have wanted it to be led, and I think that meant a great deal to them. And it is the fans who've felt this most keenly today. We caught up with a few of them earlier this afternoon, and they offered their thoughts on this very sad passing of Walter Smith.
Totally devastated. I drove all the way from North Ayrshire. I just wanted to come down and put some flowers to Walter. Very, very sad day for not just Rangers fans but for everybody.
Absolutely devastated. Walter meant so much to every single Rangers fan, worldwide, and not just Rangers fans. Football supporters in general.
I mean, what else can I say about a man who was respected by all? You know, you would never hear a bad word about this man. Not only did he deliver a lot for Rangers and then came back and saved us. I mean, you know, that's a no-brainer. But everyone I've ever met, you know, from all, you know, types of all sort of the whole throughout football, he was always respected. Everyone loved him. He was a real gentleman.
Not only a sad loss for every Rangers fan, but to football in general, I think. My heart and genuine deepest sympathies go to his family and friends.
Absolute legend. Can't take nothing away for 9 in a row. The guy was superb, done everything for us.
Walter Smith, of course, synonymous with Rangers Football Club, but his impact went beyond what he did here. Of course, he had time with the Scotland national team as well. Firstly, as assistant to Sir Alex Ferguson back in 1986 at the World Cup, and then latterly as manager in his own right in the latter stage of 2004. He came in off the back of Bertie Vogt's time at the helm, and Scotland were in disarray at that point, yet he came in and he steadied the ship. He got players wanting to play for the country again, created a club atmosphere in the national group, and Scotland began to build then. They started to rebuild themselves and start to get good results. He pulled off a fantastic victory against France a couple of years later, and that laid the foundations from which Alec McLeish could then take the team forward from that. Also worth pointing out what he did at Dundee United in his formative years. He learnt his trade alongside the fabulous Jim McLean, and at Dundee United they led the team to their first ever and only league title in 1983. And the following year, they almost got to the European Cup final. For a team of Dundee United's stature to get to that point is absolutely incredible. And Walter Smith was a huge part of that as well. A big loss for anyone connected with the Rangers, but a huge loss today for anyone remotely connected with Scottish football.
Mark, thank you for the moment. Now, Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has also been paying tribute to Walter Smith, and he has had this to say in the last few moments. He says, "I am so very sad to hear the news of Walter Smith's passing. I was, of course, very aware of Walter's impressive management career before I came to the Premier League. Through his role as technical consultant for the LMA, I have had the opportunity over the past 5 years to get to know him and see what a humble, insightful and very genuine man he was. I always enjoyed spending time with Walter, and we had been planning to have dinner together again. I feel very fortunate to have had the chance to get to know him and send my deepest condolences to Walter's wife Ethel, his sons Neil and Stephen, his grandchildren and all of his family who have lost a very special man." Now, Chris Boyd played under Smith for Rangers in Scotland. He's told us how Smith always had his players' best interests at heart.
What you seen with Walter was what you got. Sometimes you didn't like it. You know, I I speak from experience. I was on the end, the wrong end, sorry, of a few meetings with him, of that look, that stare, but that's all it needed. But what I will say is, and it's not until you grow up, you realise that, he wanted the best for you, because he knew that getting the best out of certain individuals would mean it was better for the team, it was better for the club, it was better for everybody. And he was always striving to make people better, because he wanted what was best for Glasgow Rangers Football Club.
Well, back in 2005, Smith handed Aberdeen captain Scott Brown his first cap when Scotland faced the United States, and he's been revealing the words of wisdom he was given before coming on as a substitute.
It was fantastic, and he gave me a bit of advice once when it was my first cap. He went, "Wee man," he went, "go on and cause carnage." And I was like, "Oh yeah, thanks very much." He went, "You're going on up front." He went, "Go and cause carnage and get yourself a goal." And to be fair, on the day I scored the goal, but it was offside, and it came off, and it was a fantastic occasion as well. And it was at the time you're looking, and it was probably one of the first times that I met Walter when I was going into the Scotland squad as well. And it was this huge presence at the time, and you knew when he came in the room, everyone went dead quiet, and everyone had huge respect for him as well. And he was a fantastic manager at Scotland for Rangers as well, and what he done down in England too was fantastic. We working with huge clubs and huge managers.
Paul Gascoigne played under Smith at both Rangers and Everton. He said, "I am extremely upset to hear the news of Walter's passing. I really looked up to Walter. He gave me something to smile again with football, and he supported me like a father figure whilst at Rangers. I'll miss our frequent telephone chats. I am thinking about Walter's family at this sad time." Smith stepped up from assistant at Ibrox in 1991 to replace Graham Souness, who had left for Liverpool. Souness has released a joint statement alongside Sir David Murray, the club's owner and chairman at that time. Well, Scottish football has lost one of the finest, they say. Even in the proud history of Glasgow Rangers, Walter Smith stands out as a colossus. He will never be forgotten. His 21 titles and trophies between 1991 and 2011 not only earned respect in the Scottish and British game, but across the entire footballing world. The Rangers family has lost someone very special. Walter had a profound effect on both of our lives, certainly as a manager and a leader and a wise and trusted advisor, but also always as a close and treasured friend. He made time for so many people. Both of us have spoken to him privately over the past few weeks. The topic rarely strayed from football. Our thoughts are with Ethel, Stephen, Neil and their families. Well, Nacho Novo played under Walter Smith for 3 seasons at Rangers and famously scored the winning penalty against Fiorentina to put the club through to the UEFA Cup final back in 2008. And he paid an emotional tribute to his former manager.
I just so thankful that I've been playing under him because he's made me a better player, a better person as well. And yeah, just devastated now for his family. But however, a legend never die, so always will be with us. For me, it was like a father, like a friend. Just was everything really. A good father, a good husband, love his grandkids. Just overall is you will never be a better man than him.
Now, as the tributes continue to come in, Scotland head coach Steve Clarke has paid his respects to Walter Smith this afternoon. He said, "Firstly, I am shocked and saddened to hear of Walter's passing, and my thoughts are with his family. He was a formidable manager and a formidable man. He always had a strength and presence that marked him out, and no doubt contributed to the great success he had throughout his career. He was always very supportive and terrific company when our paths crossed over the years. His loss will be felt profoundly across Scottish football." Smith had many battles with Celtic down the years, of course, and current Celtic manager Ange Postecoglou has spoken about what he contributed to Scottish football.
Condolences to his family, all those closest to him. And yeah, I mean, obviously just heard the news as well. And I can't recollect actually coming across him during my travels, but well aware of his standing as a manager and, you know, his record both at club level and national team level. And more importantly, I think, you see the measure of the man when, the people who are sort of giving the tributes today. I mean, I just heard, Ali McCoist, who eloquently put it that he was just a great man, and a sad loss for Scottish football, for sure, but someone who, like all of us, we all want to sort of try and make our mark as people as much as in our profession, and he's one of that rare breed that definitely did that.
Scotland's First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, has said this: very sad to hear of the death of former Rangers and Scotland manager Walter Smith. He was a true football great. My condolences to his family, friends and colleagues across the world of football. And of course, tributes continue to pour in across the world of football. This has just come in from the West Ham manager, David Moyes, who has said, I looked up to Walter with so much respect. He was such a great Scottish manager, but to me, he was an even better man. He was honourable, he showed great dignity and always demonstrated such class. He was a true friend and mentor, and a man I feel privileged to have known. He will always be remembered fondly. My thoughts are with all of Walter's family.